Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem. This is a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 207. I was white here, kicked off with d4. My opponent plays d5, so we got what looks like a normal opening, and I play c4, the main move. And then my opponent plays the pretty rare move, bishop f5. It's not like it's an unplayable move, but it's pretty tricky. So there's a couple replies here. Looks like knight f3. This is the main move in the book. The engine is not too impressed with that. I think c takes d5 that I played is the most logical move here, just asking black if he really intends to bring the queen out and have it get kicked around by the knight. Asking him what his plan is there, basically. But there is another idea here, which you should always think about in these queen-pawn openings when black has moved out his bishop. It's left this b-pawn undefended. So an early bishop move should trigger your thoughts to the move queen b3. And queen b3, and just take a brief look at it, is a double attack in these situations because it puts pressure on b7 there, but it also puts pressure along this diagonal, and this so this d-pawn is often a focus focus for white's pieces in these kind of openings. Now in this case, he can defend with e6, and it looks like queen takes b7 doesn't lead to a whole lot. But you're a pawn up, so probably black has enough compensation. He's not actually losing here, but so not bad to be a pawn up in these openings. So that's another way to play. I just did the simple c takes d5, maybe the best move here. And then he took back with the queen. It looks like a better try here would be knight f6. This has some of the appearance of a center counter. A lot of times if you ignore the bishop move and the pawn move, if white has played e4 and black has played d5 and you take, then you can bring out the knight here, or you can take with the queen, either way. So he took with the queen. It also appears like the book move in this situation is bishop takes b1. Just kidding. This bishop is a bit loose out here, so getting rid of it with tempo maybe black's best try in this situation. But you see he's at a significant disadvantage. So this is he's given up the bishop pair, basically, and he hasn't really gotten any compensation for it. Or he doesn't have any lead in development, and I'm not going to have any trouble just getting my pieces out and castling, and then I'll enjoy the advantage of the bishop pair. So the other try in this situation here is knight f6. Like I said, similar to the center counter game, where you try and gather up that pawn with the knight. But he just went ahead and took with the queen. And now we're out of the opening book here, so let's take a look at this. And I just play knight c3. Yeah, okay, top choice. Very logical move, just chasing the queen. Queen runs to a5, and then bishop d2, another really logical move, just unpinning the knight, and also one of the top engine choices. So already I have this pretty significant advantage, and you'll see the move that black should play in this instance is c6. And again, like in the center counter, what you want to do is you want to give an escape route for the queen. Basically, it needs to have a way to get back to safety so it doesn't get caught over on the side of the board. And also maybe just to get back in the game if it's not doing too much on the queen side, and if it can't get over to the king side directly, it's just another route back into the game. So c6, best move here. My opponent played the move a6, and before I put that on the board, there's a tactic that occurs in this game, so if you saw the game, you know what it is. And what's amazing is that the tactic shows up already after the move a6. So a6 is a blunder, and if you want to take a minute to pause the video and think about this one, this is a good tactical puzzle here. So after black plays a6, how would you play as white, and what is the tactical situation, and how can you take advantage of it? Okay, let's see. Do I want to give any other clues? Well, I think you saw the tactic in the game. The main trick is to get into a situation where that tactic shows up with tempo. And so I'm giving away the answer now. One last chance to pause the video before I give it away. Okay, The answer is, after a6, you play the move e4, which I actually played in the game. I did not play in the game. I played a3 after a6. Yeah, this tactic was sitting on the board for a long time. But you see, already it's in the game here. With this move e4, the bishop has a problem. You see, the computer line is bishop takes e4, knight takes e4, just giving up a piece. So obviously that's good. I mean, obviously good for white, bad for black. If he has to give up a piece, you know what? The game's pretty much over. But the other choices are even worse. So if he moves the bishop, say here, just retreating, then you have the same tactic that you had in the game, knight to d5, and just traps the queen. That's the point. The knight is guarding these squares. The bishop is covering this diagonal. The queen can't come out to here or here. And this move e5 is e4. The move e4 is really key because it supports the knight and prevents the queen from coming out along this rank here, along the fourth rank. So the pawn defends the knight, so the queen has no moves. That's covered by the pawn, that's covered by the bishop. Here this is covered by the queen, and this is covered by the pawn. So already the move e4 right here is just a winning move. And it's because it comes with tempo. So what are the other tries after e4? We saw, you know, the top choice was bishop takes, that just loses a piece. c5. All right, this gives the queen an escape square, but once again, this loses a piece. Looks like, okay, technically queen b3 is best, or knight d5. Well, knight d5 is understandable. You get the knight out of the way with tempo, the queen runs here, and then bishop f4. That's funny. So it's going to all this crazy stuff. You can just take the bishop, probably the more human way to play. You're winning, you're a piece up, and he gets a pawn here, and now you can move the knight. Say knight to e4, and I guess black gets a few more pawns this way, but you're a piece up early in the game, and this is just winning. Okay, enough of that. So after a6, I didn't spot the tactic or even the idea for it here, which is it's one of those things. I guess how can you discover a tactic like this? Well, for one thing, you can notice that the move e4 comes with tempo, so that should be on your list. It's a move that attacks a bishop. And the other thing you should notice is the move knight to d5 also comes with tempo, comes with an attack on the queen. So if you look at it in the wrong order, you think, well, what about the move knight d5? You notice that, well, the queen can just take the knight. So then you say, well, how could I protect the knight there to prevent that? You might come up with the idea e4, kicking the bishop, and then knight d5. And then if you can picture that, you might also notice that the queen is just completely trapped. So it's a kind of move you can actually discover in the game, but you have to be alert for it. And so that's the other thing is, you know, when the queen is off sides like this and under the threat of a discovered attack, you know, look for ways to trap it. Okay, so I played a3, my opponent played e6, and I play e4. So I had the idea just of getting more influence in the center. I didn't have the idea of trapping the queen just yet. He retreats the bishop. And now, right now, I could play the move, once again, knight d5. You see it's top choice of the engine. I didn't see it here. I just am developing. I still have an advantage. It's not like I'm in bad shape. It's just that this tactic is sitting there begging to be played. And I continue developing. And he plays knight c6. And then finally, I continue. I castle. So there was three developing moves when I could have played that game-winning tactic. He plays bishop e7, and now finally, I remember in the video I was thinking, is that queen got any squares to run to? So yeah, it doesn't. Knight e5 just wins the queen. So the game is pretty much over here. The only interesting thing is after these exchanges, he got two pieces for the queen, and he could. Let's see. He took on f1. My best try here actually was to keep taking with the pawn on b7, because that his bishop is under attack and his rook would also be under attack, and I'd pick up another pawn. So when I took the bishop, that wasn't the best move here, and he just grabbed the pawn. So, but if you look at the material situation now, I have a queen versus a rook basically, and pawns are. He has an extra pawn. There's 3 against 3 and 4 against 3 over here. So he has an extra pawn, but I have a queen versus a rook. So a completely winning advantage, and his pawns are kind of messed up too. But his king is secure. So it's not going to be a simple break down the doors and mate him kind of game. You actually have to play on. So this is it's a bit instructive, this part of the game. What you have to do, the advantage you have of the queen versus the rook is it's a more mobile piece, and this mobility will tell more as other pieces come off and the game opens up. So basically what you should be trying to do here is trade things off, and the way you can do that is by making threats. So I round up a pawn here by attacking it with the queen, but he uses that tempo to buy time for development. I'm thinking of just advancing my pawn so I can open up some more lines. He castles, but his king is quite safe, and there's just no immediate mating attack here. But you keep moving your pieces forward, putting pressure on your opponent. That's the way to play with the advantage. And eventually you force him into some trades. And at the same time, of course, you always have to be concerned about your opponent's tactics. But he's got a completely solid setup, so you're not going to be able to just break it down. You've got to play on, continuing to put pressure on, and just watching for the tactics, and that's how you will eventually win this game. And all the trades help you, so if you can put your pieces in positions where they'll get traded off, this is all to your advantage. And just came back to avoid the back row problems. But he's really cemented his knight in there. But there is a weakness on e6 that I can go for here. And so he plays e5, and now I can try and undermine his knight by taking on these pawns, and in general opening up lines over here on the queen side is going to be good for me. And now at this point I have another idea of how I can make progress, which is to just push this pawn forward and force him into some trades or something to prevent that from becoming a mate. And also you have to be aware of the tactics yourself. I mean, when I played this pawn push, I wasn't sacking a pawn here. I had already figured out that the queen here check would get the pawn back at the end. So decent position here for me. I just have to defend that pawn, push it forward, and make him do something to stop it. And this move here helps me out, this trade. But if he doesn't do that, I'm going to use the bishop to help this pawn promote. So, but you see, yeah, the engine thinks he should keep the pieces on, play rook c7 here, just try and stop the pawn and fight a holding action. So he took the bishop, and this helps me, and I defend my pawn, which is one of my trump cards, and now I'm just trying to get the pawn to the 7th and the rook to the 8th, and I can win that way. For example, if the pawn were already here, then I could take his rook, he takes back, and then rook to d8 check would win, because it forks the rook and the king, and when he takes, I take back with the pawn to become a queen. So I'm just one step away from winning, but he can harass my queen with his rooks. And but I get my rook on the 7th. That allows one check here. But my idea was with the rook on the 7th, well, if I can't promote the pawn, maybe I can get my queen onto the 7th rank and go after his pawn over here, the g pawn. So and this just loses. He didn't notice that his rook was hanging here. So after rook e1, I take the rook, and he resigned. If we back up, if he didn't play that, says rook g8 is the best play, just coming here to defend. I just want to show how you might continue on and win this. You can push c7 immediately here, and then rook c1 to try and stop it from queening, and now queen e6. What's the plan here? King h7. Okay, he doesn't have too many good moves, although he could, yeah, he can't put his rook in front of the pawn, because I have this rook d8 move check. As long as his king is still in the 8th rank, he can't ever play rook to c8, because I have rook d8 check. So king up, and now queen takes f6, taking advantage of the the pin on this pawn. So anyway, it looks like this is just going to be a completely winning position here. He plays on with rook c5. Queen f5 check. Let's just see how the engine finishes him off. It says it's a mate in 6 here, so queen f7, rook c2. Okay, he's just kind of shuffling that. Rook to d8. Now finally I get this move in with the queen protecting the pawn and the rook on d8. Protected by the pawn, and then I'm attacking on g8. So it looks like, yeah, this is all over. He's just going to have to give up. Oh, what's this? Rook takes g2 check. Yeah, he's just sacking a piece here. Rook takes g2 check, king takes g2. But what about this one? Oh, he can't play that because it's pinned. Sorry. I was thinking, what about rook here? So that's some kind of hallucination. Yeah, you can see it's all over. Okay, so that's how the game might have ended. Still, you know, it's funny how much maneuvering it takes, even though you have sort of this overwhelming force with your queen and your rook against 2 rooks and advanced pawn. You still have to hold on to everything and advance it cautiously. But I think just defending the pawn and playing rook to d8 is the winning plan there. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Here, let's set up the actual position in the game. Played rook e1 and queen takes, and that's how the game ended. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.